Some big breaking news coming in at this hour. India has decided that any future act of terror will be considered an act of war by Pakistan against India and that it will be responded to accordingly. That's the big story. That's a breaking over here. Top Government of India sources telling us that any future act of terror by Pakistan will be considered an act of war against India. We have our Deputy Managing Editor, Kartikeya Sharma, with us here in the studio. Kartikeya, talk to us. What are the sources telling you at this stage? This is also similar to the kind of statement that came from Pakistan, which said that if India is willing to de-escalate, they are willing to de-escalate.
Absolutely. India has decided that any future act of terror will be considered an act of war against India and will be responded accordingly. Now, it is telling us two things. One, we are not distinguishing between conventional act of war and we are not distinguishing between terrorism, which means we are equating terrorism with act of war. So that is why when we say that future terror act will be an act of war, it means that any terror attack which takes place in Kashmir, any terror attack which takes place in any other part of our country would be treated as an act of war. So what does it tell us? It tells us three things. One, it means that we can take solo action because we don't need to provide evidence, because we have already said that it will be an act of war. Second thing, we are not distinguishing between terrorism and conventional war, which means conventional war is you declare a war, two nations fight.
Right.
Which means we are saying that anything done by so-called non-state actors would be treated as an act of state actor. That's number two. And the third and the most important thing, the liability. When we say it's an act of war, the liability will be on Pakistan to prove its innocence. Where was the liability when terrorism continues to happen in Kashmir? Liability is on us. For example, what is the question people are asking? People are saying that, well, the Pahalgam has taken place, first you find them. Or what is the liability? Okay, 26/11 took place. You prove that Kasab is a Punjabi from Pakistan. Now the liability is in Pakistan. When we say that we are a victim of terror, the liability is on you. So we have reversed the logic. And Krishna, let me put two things on the table.
Before you go any further, Kartikeya, let me also ask you a very simple question. When India says any future act of terror, and I really want to understand this because what is happening from Pakistan's end so far, Kartikeya, is again indiscriminate firing, provocation, while India is doing precision attacks, it has been completely all over the place from Pakistan. So does it mean that any attack by the Pakistani military too at this stage on Indian civilians per se will be regarded as an act of terror?
You see, we have actually broken three stereotypes in phases. The first stereotype we broke was in 2014 when we called off the bluff of nuclear war. That you don't go to war, you don't have a surgical strike on a nuclear armed state. Did anything happen in Uri? Did anything happen in Balakot?
No.
Nothing happened. The second the second narrative we broke was a big power has to have strategic restraint. Why should I be taking all the blows? We broke the strategic restraint. So that myth is also set aside.
Right.
There's a third and a fourth most important myth. I know most of the people have written on it. Pakistan tries to portray itself as a North Korean state. Mysterious, run by an unknown Pakistani general. And the idea is that Pakistan can do acts of terror in India, but if you take punitive action against Pakistan, then Pakistan is going to behave in such an irrational way that it's going to hurt India in the long run.
Right.
That's the most important thing that's happening here. It's going to hurt you. It's not going to hurt India. We are 10 times bigger than you.
Yeah.
We are financially more sound. Your forex reserves are at $15 billion. My forex reserves are at $677 billion.
You cannot run a country without a bailout.
40% of your labor force is in agriculture. You have no refining processing facilities. You have no manufacturing. You have got high external debt.
Yeah.
And most of all, you don't even have money to service those debt.
Yeah.
You have got a $1 billion bailout. I kind of understand it's part and parcel of American dependence on Pakistan for Afghan and Central Asian outreach. India will have to live with it. But India is setting its own realism.
Yeah.
Jaishankar spoke about that there is a Russian realism. Trump says there is an American realism. We are defining Indian realism.
Stay with us, Kartikeya. We have Amod Rai, our correspondent, now joining us on the phone line to get more details. Amod Rai, talk to us. Government of India sources telling us that future terror attacks will mean it's an act of war. Right, we don't have Amodra on the phone line at the moment. We're just trying to reconnect with him to get the latest details. But for all those who just tuning into this broadcast, big breaking news coming in. India saying that any act of terror by Pakistan, any future act of terror by Pakistan will be considered an act of war.